Hey everyone, let's paint this beautiful composition using the negative painting technique in watercolors and also some layering. I'm starting with Winsor & Newton Cotman colors, permanent rose and cadmium yellow. Cotman colors are student grade, but if you don't have professional grade colors at this point, these are great to start with. I'm using two bowls instead of my palette because I need a lot of color in the watery and milky consistency, so this is more convenient for me. You can continue to use the palette if that works for you. I just tested out my values. A value is just how light or dark a color is. I added a few more drops to make my pink a lighter value. Now I'm wetting my paper using a flat brush to get quick coverage. You can see it shiny wet, and that's when we start dropping in the colors. This is my absolute favorite part, to see the colors bloom when I drop them on a wet surface. You can also use a 1-inch flat brush or a size 8 or 10 round brush, whatever you have, to apply paint over the area. I also like to move my board around. That's why I like to tape my paper. So it creates some beautiful magical effects. And use a damp brush to remove the excess paint. Use a hairdryer to dry it completely. Now I'm going to start with my patterns. I'm going with a very basic flower pattern. You can draw anything you feel like. It could be abstract, it could be anything. Only thing you need to remember is the areas where you have the pattern is the only area which will be retaining the original layer we painted. Everything around it is going to get painted again with the next layer of colors. So that's negative painting. We are painting around the shapes. So you can either start painting directly or you can wet the area and drop in the colors, whichever feels convenient for you. Remember, the art making process should be fun for you, not stressful. So if adding water and dropping in the colors feels easier, do that. I'm using Arches 140-pound cold press 100% cotton paper, which makes it easier to work with so many layers. My next layer is dried. Now I'm adding leaves, adding them in random areas because I don't have a clear image of where I'm heading. I don't want to focus on the end result. I'm just enjoying my process, building some layers, creating some shapes using negative painting. That's my goal for now. And I'm excited to see where it goes and what it creates. So my leaves are placed very randomly. I mix both my colors just for fun. You can even do this whole process using a single color and mixing different values. If you notice, I'm reloading my brush very frequently, and I'm also making sure I move on all the sides. I'm not just focusing on one area. I'm moving sideways with small strokes to make sure every area stays wet and we don't end up having any patches or watermarks. When that layer dried completely, I'm adding more leaves, again in random places, making my color a little bit darker. It's a fun process. You can use different colors, 2 colors, 3 colors, 5, 6 colors, just play around. If a thought comes to you, try it out. That's where the learning happens. Making the value a little bit darker. You can see how watery my paint is. Testing it. I think it needs to get a little bit darker. That's why testing it out on the paper really helps. That looks good. Repeating the exact same process. Going around all the shapes and painting only the areas around them. Remember to keep reloading your brush. When I reload, I'm just dipping the tip. I'm not loading the entire brush, so I have more control in the narrow areas. The permanent rose was not getting any darker, so I'm using some alizarin crimson. Again, it's a cotton color. That looks good. As we add layer after layer, the colors look darker than what they look on the paper we tested out on. I find this very therapeutic to go around those grooves and fill the paint in. I think I'm happy with the layers. I am going to add some details to the flowers, just using the alizarin crimson in the center, softening the edges, adding some more, just having fun. And then I am also going to mix a little bit of cobalt blue with the alizarin crimson and create a darker purplish color and adding it to the center to make it pop. I also added fine lines connecting the leaves. This was a lot of fun, but I forgot to record the process. Then adding some more detailings like leaves, like small pokey leaves. It's just up to you, whatever you want to add. And I had some white gouache on my palette, so I just had to add it because I love playing with white gouache. So do what makes you happy and happy creating.